Preparing to live stream the meeting. Let's hope this works.
Leo. There we go. Yes, this meeting is now streaming live on YouTube.
All right, we are live. Nice. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. Today I got Chad, the gig economist, on.
Hey, what's up?
Just hanging out, kind of. His cat's hanging out a little bit too. So we're gonna do a little interview with Chad on some of the topics just for you guys. Are best gig apps, what gig apps you do, how long have you been doing gigs, what did you do before gigs, apps like Para.
Whoa, one question at a time.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm just giving a preface of what's going to happen. So for those of you who are watching, you know what's coming up. Future of gigs, YouTube gigs, and then we're going to talk about some fitness stuff. All right. So, Chad, how you doing today? Good.
Today's Tuesday, so today's actually my off day.
Ah, nice. You don't do gigs today?
Yeah, Monday and Tuesday, I always take off.
Nice. Yeah, we actually have Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday off here. That circuit show. I got strep throat yesterday, so it sucked for the last day or so. That's why I didn't hit you up about the interview yesterday. So fortunately, we can't transmit it through Zoom or anything. Anyway, so first question I got: which gig apps do you do?
Mostly Instacart, but Doordash, Uber Eats, and Grubhub as secondary, and then I also have these two other ones, Dispatch and Roadie. I don't know if Dispatch is nationwide. I think Roadie's nationwide, but they account for like a very, very small fraction of my earnings. So I actually haven't done a Dispatch order since like February or something. So yeah, but Instacart's my main app. Probably like 90% of my earnings on gig apps come from Instacart, and then DoorDash and Uber Eats account for like the other 9%, and the last 1% is split between everything else. Oh, and I also do Amazon Flex too. I forgot to mention that. In fact,
Amazon Flex. How is
that? There's a few different. It's funny because like it's the only gig app where there's like multiple jobs within the app. Mostly it's doing the package delivery. Like you go to the warehouse, the same warehouse where all the trucks pick up packages, except you put them in your car and you just deliver packages to people's houses. But there's also Whole Foods deliveries, which I really like, and which I have a block tomorrow. You can get like 2 hours at a time. So it's kind of like doing Instacart, or it's kind of like doing like a really long DoorDash delivery. So you just show up at the store and you don't know like where you're going, how many bags there are, how many stops there are until you get there. And there's actually been a few times where they've tried to throw me like way more bags that I could possibly fit in the car.
Really?
And then I had to have them take like 1 or 2 orders off. And it's you also don't know how much money you make until like about 24 hours later, because the tips aren't up front like they are with Instacart. It's like you make the deliveries and you find out the next day how much you get paid an hourly wage. I think it's $15 an hour. It's $15 an hour through Amazon, but then you get tips on top of that. And Whole Foods customers tend to be really good tippers. So like even in 2 hours, like last week I made, I think like $53 in 2 hours, which I mean, that's really good. It's like what, 27 an hour or something like that. Yeah. There's been times I've made 35 an hour just doing Whole Foods. And like certain cities, they have the Amazon Fresh, like there's like an Amazon grocery store or whatever. And there's also Amazon Prime Now, which is essentially the same thing as Whole Foods, except instead of going to Whole Foods, you go into the warehouse and they have all like the food. It's like non-perishable food. It's like, SpaghettiOs or, big things of like cat litter or 12 and 24 packs of soda, stuff like that.
Yeah.
People are buying their food on Amazon, And like, well, actually, there's an app called Amazon Prime Now, and like that's where they're ordering. And it's funny because like there's the blocks. It's almost 24 hours. I think it is 24 hours. I don't know who's ordering, cat food at 2 a.m. and needs it like right now. But if you want to order something on Amazon Prime Now and want 2 hour delivery in the middle of the night, some schmuck like me will deliver it to you.
So you're actually gig driving that late at night?
No, I never do. I'm strictly days because like once the sun goes down, I cannot see. So I try to stick to like, well, lately I've been working. Well, actually, my hours change. It just depends on the day. Depends on like what else I have going on that day. But I mean, ideally, I would like to be like 8 to 4, 8 to 5, just like a regular 9 to 5er, except instead of doing an office job, I'm doing gig work.
Yeah. Yeah. So would you recommend Amazon Flex to other people?
Yeah, and what stinks about Amazon Flex though is unlike every other, like if you refer a friend, you get like a bonus of some sort. Like there's no referral program on Amazon, so it doesn't, I don't have a code, I don't have a referral code to give to anybody. So if you join, it doesn't help or hurt me in any way.
Yeah. That kind of sucks. I've thought for the longest time that those referrals would never work when I was trying to give them out on DoorDash. And then one day I looked and I could see like all the people that signed up, and most of them weren't even close to the amount of deliveries that they needed to get to actually give you that bonus. But then one person did, and it was like a $300 bonus that I got that week. So that was pretty cool. But
yeah, and I don't know what the criteria is right now, but I remember I referred a friend to DoorDash like 2 years ago, and they wanted her to do like 200 deliveries in a month, or maybe like in 100 days or something like that. It was a real, like, you would have to basically quit your job, do DoorDash full time for like a month and a half to hit the goal. And I used to get referrals all the time on Instacart because like in the description box of all my videos is a link to, interested in working for Instacart, click here to apply. And like, it's my referral code. And same thing on Instacart. Like Instacart, well, pre-COVID, people actually, I mean, it also depends on like what city they're in, because there might be like, certain cities are undermanned, certain cities are overmanned. So if you get somebody who's in an undermanned city who can actually do the job, that might hit their goal. So I mean, I've made like $900 in Instacart referrals, but most of the like 90% of that was in 2019. Nobody's like, it'll like, I get these notifications on my phone all the time. It says so and so has is eligible to start shopping, and then it just like they never start, or I think what happens is like they're on like a waiting list. Like it says they're eligible, like they count being on the waiting list as like the clock running, which is such bullshit,
Yeah, I think that's what they do, because otherwise I would have so many people that would have given me those referral points, but I only had one person, and I got like hundreds of videos on YouTube with my link in the description and all that stuff. And then someone warned me that YouTubers were getting deactivated by DoorDash. I guess like I think his name was Mike the driver or something like that.
Yeah, your driver, Mike. Yeah, I was just about to say that because he said he got deactivated because he has his DoorDash referral code he used to have it in all his videos. I think I used to have it in my videos too, but I got rid of it after I heard. Well, not that I was referring anybody anyway, but if there's any DoorDashers out there, if you can actually, I checked this. It's somewhere on the DoorDash website. I think it's actually in the DoorDash contract. It says you can't post your referral code. Like I think it just says on social media, and YouTube, I guess, counts as social media. Like they want you to actually refer an actual friend or family member, not just, hand it out on the internet. Anybody, if you're a YouTuber or even just like an Instagrammer or whatever, and you have your referral code for DoorDash, take that down. I mean, they might not, I don't know how they would know. It's probably like if just people are random.
Yeah. As soon as I heard that, I was like, all right, I'll take it down. it's not like it was getting me any referrals anyways. You know, I have hundreds of thousands of views and I got one referral out of all of those. Probably not worth the deactivation, which also on another, what do you think about the Para app, being that no one's gotten deactivated from that, but people have been deactivated for posting their links in their YouTube descriptions? Are you one of the people that doesn't want to say the Para name, or what do you think about it?
No, I don't begrudge anybody that uses Para. I was talking about this with, I forget, Eli or Gig Mom. I've interviewed so many people in the last couple of weeks. Yeah, I mean, well, Para it's like a earnings tracker app. Like it shows you how much you made with each app. And I think, is it a mileage tracker too, or just an earnings tracker?
Miles and everything.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, I mean, it's like a nice, all-in-one app there. And then when DoorDash started hiding the tips, they included this new feature. And I guess it's probably a paid. I've never really looked into the app. Yeah, it's not a free app, is it? You probably have to pay like
No, it's free.
$5. It is free.
Yeah.
Does that include the DoorDash tip thing?
Yeah, everything is free. Which I was a little bit confused. I was like, what? How are they doing this all for free? But
Yeah,
I guess like it seems like their strategy for, I mean, their business plan is to kind of sell it in the future to someone. So they're basically just trying to accumulate a bunch of users, and then they'll eventually sell it, or it'll become part of like DoorDash or something like that.
yeah. I was gonna say, usually any app that's free, it's like you're the product. Like they're selling your data to somebody.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they're not doing that, but I don't.
Yeah.
I think
Go ahead.
good people, and I think they're just trying to advance DoorDash and try to make them not. I don't know. I think everyone thinks it's pretty dishonest of a company like DoorDash to hide the tips, and I think I wish I could interview the what's his name, Tony's Shoe or something like that, and ask him like, what would you do if you got a $3 order? Would you take that? Because I don't think you would.
Maybe you could interview like their PR rep or something.
That would be sweet. I don't think they would go for it, but
You'd have to sell yourself as a journalist. I don't think there's a journalistic quality to like what we do, but I don't think anybody would call us journalists per se.
Yeah, I think they would probably take a look at my DoorDash or my YouTube channel as of recently and be like, we're probably not going to interview this guy. Like, it's been a lot of negative stuff towards DoorDash, which is opposite of what people used to think, that I worked for DoorDash. I thought that was really strange, but
yeah, people think I work for Instacart. I'm like, really? You should see all the videos I have bashing them.
Yeah. So let's see. What else do we have to ask? So which would you say is the best gig app? Of all the ones you use, which one do you use the most? What's your bread and butter?
Well, definitely Instacart.
Man,
I like it the best. I mean, because you drive the least amount of miles. You get exercise from walking around the store. It's kind of a challenge because like every order is like a little treasure hunt, and like every time you find what the person wants on the shelf, I don't know if you've ever done like a scavenger hunt, or if you have you don't have kids, do you?
No.
You have nephews or nieces or anything?
No.
Well, I mean, I have 2 nephews, and I don't have kids, and or just like, you remember like playing like any kind of matching game when you were a kid, because what you're doing is like you see a picture of the product on your phone, and you try to find it on the shelf, and when you see it, it's like this little, it's a little rush of, a little happiness, like, hey, I found it. And then every once in a while you scan something and it says it's the wrong thing, and I'm looking at the 2 pictures, and I'm like, how is this possibly wrong? Like, you realize you picked the fat-free version, or the sugar-free version, or low-calorie version, something like that,
To me, that sounds horrible. Like, that's not something I want to do, but I don't know. Maybe I'll sign up for Instacart. I did, like, my biggest concern is putting miles on my car. So maybe I will look into that, but going on a scavenger hunt multiple times a day doesn't sound very fun.
Well, I think you would probably like it just for like the physical activity of it. I mean, I got my
I'm actually
Fitbit here.
opposite. I'm trying to do less physical activity.
Oh,
I get
really?
too much activity, actually.
Do you have a Fitbit or a Whoop or anything like that?
I do have forget what it's called. It goes around your chest though. It's
Uh,
more
yeah,
expensive.
but I mean, like this Sunday, the posted I just posted today. I mean, I got 10,000 steps just doing Instacart,
Hmm.
and like it keeps your heart rate up. Like especially you're pushing that shopping cart around the store, and
Yeah.
every once in a while you have to carry multiple cases of water up multiple flights of stairs, and those orders always come in like right after you had Chipotle or something.
Nice.
But
Yeah. I don't know. I'm always overworking my body. Like I go to the gym so many times and like
mhm.
do shows and stuff. So the last thing I'm trying to do is get more exercise.
Yeah, instead of going to the gym, just go to Costco and buy some cases of bottled water, and instead of taking the elevator, take the stairs and put it on your shoulder and
Yeah.
carry cases of bottled water up the stairs.
Yeah. So real quick, those of you who are watching live, if you guys have any questions, type them in the chat. We should probably be able to answer all the questions because it doesn't look like there's too many questions coming in. But if you guys have any questions for me or Chad, let us know.
I'll have to I got to bring up this video on my phone so that oops, I can see the chat. It says top
Yeah.
chat.
I don't see anything though. So
Okay.
so far no one's interested in our conversation. So what did you do before, or how long have you been doing these gigs for? Gig apps?
Full time almost 3 years now. Yeah, I worked in IT for over 10 years. And like where I live now, I'm in this picture behind me is downtown Orlando. I'm in Sanford, which is about 20 miles north of Orlando. Um
So you worked in IT, so that's how you have a nice background, and I have a hotel in the background.
well,
With
this
camera on my
OBS and
screen,
everything, like I
phone.
I just figured out how to do like the OBS and all this stuff like in the last couple months. But yeah, I mean, I was always a Windows guy. Yeah, so I mean, I worked in IT for 10 years. I worked for GE when I lived in upstate New York, and then I moved to Florida in 2015 and I got a job with Publix. And then I was recruited for a contract for Microsoft here in Sanford, but I was only there for like 4 months and I hated the job and I quit. And I had been doing Uber and Lyft on the weekends like for kicks. And I was like, well, let's do this as a full-time job. And I started doing it as a full-time job. And it's really hard to make a living doing Uber and Lyft, especially in this market. Like
Yep.
what we get paid here is like peanuts compared to, like real cities like New York and Chicago or like Houston, somewhere like that, where they're getting like almost like $1 a mile, sometimes more than $1 a mile. And we're getting like, 53 cents a mile, if
Wait,
that.
you take orders that are less than $1 a mile?
No, I'm talking about Uber and Lyft.
Okay.
Like you don't know how much money you make until you give the person the ride and then you drop them off. And then,
Yeah,
because
that's messed up. I don't like that.
you're a taxi, just the longer the trip, either in distance or time or both, the more money you make. And then people give you tips, obviously, too. And then I can't remember exactly how, but I just had seen people on Facebook talk about Instacart. So I signed up for it, and then it took me a while, but I finally got into it, and I was like, "Oh, this is so much better." When I was 8-hour day on Uber or Lyft is like at least 150, sometimes 200 miles, and an 8-hour day on Instacart. Like you saw my vlog that I posted today, it was like 74 miles, and I made like over $200.
Oh, that's pretty good.
8-hour day on Uber and Lyft in my market is 100, 120 maybe.
That's a lot of wear and tear on the car, though.
Yeah, my Honda Fit, it's 2017. It's over 100,000 miles already.
Yeah, that's you got to drive. You got to have like your own car for gig driving. Okay, we have
At
a
least it's
question.
paid off though.
Do you guys use Stride from John Atlanta or ATL? That's the only reason I don't mind doing a longer trip sometimes. Okay. Do you know what Stride is? Because I actually don't.
I know Stride's like it's kind of like Para. It's kind of like a everything kind of tracker app. I know you can use it as a mileage tracker and as an earnings tracker and all that, but I don't use any like trackers other than my own Excel spreadsheets, which I plug at the end of like most of my videos.
Okay.
So yeah, I use my own spreadsheet to track all my miles.
Far away from Uber, Lyft. I don't. Yeah, I agree. Jennifer Levine. I don't use Lyft anymore. I started Uber when it first came out, and someone puked in my car after like a month of doing it. Like, I'm done with this. Like, I thought it would be a good opportunity to drive around my brand new car that I got for like fun and get paid for it. And then someone puked in my car. I was like, I'm done. Plus,
I never had anybody puke in the car when I was doing Uber. I had some people come close and like on Amazon. I mean, you can buy anything on Amazon, but you can buy like hospital grade barf bags on Amazon. I think they're called emesis bags or something. And I put like all those like in the back seat, you know, and so I used to work second shift like 4 to midnight when I worked at Publix, and then on Friday and Saturdays I would as soon as I got off work at Publix I would just go straight doing Uber, and like I was in Lakeland, which is a college town. It's a little there isn't much to do there, but there's a few colleges and there's like a downtown area, so it's like all you're doing is taking drunk kids from the dorm to the bar or from the bar to the dorm.
Yeah. Do you think it will ever be possible to unionize or something similar on a lower level? Unionize, I think like my personal opinion is I think in like 2 years, everyone's going to turn into an employee anyways. I don't think this gig driving thing is going to last too long. I think it's a little bit wild, wild west. And I think that eventually in like, which kind of goes into the next question, like what apps did you think are going to survive? Because I personally think one of these ones is going to monopolize and then they're going to turn everyone to employees and then no more gig driving. It's going to be employees. So what do you think about that?
I don't think people are gonna become employees because if it was in the company's best interest to make people employees, then they would. I mean, the only way that companies are gonna make us employees is if the government forces them to, which is what happened in California with AB5. And then there was Prop 22, which sort of corrected it, but I mean, I didn't follow it like super closely, but I mean, the whole point of a business is to make money, and it's much, much cheaper to have independent contractors than employees because you have to pay employees benefits. You probably have to guarantee them hours, like they have to have mandatory breaks and all that stuff. And also for us, like the actual workers, I feel that it's better to be an independent contractor because if you're an employee, like with the taxes, it's like what miles are you going to be able to write off, are they providing me with a company car? I mean, I know in California, the whole reason they want to be employees is because if they're not working, they're still getting paid. And so they want to have their cake and eat it too. But, something's got to give. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't like collect an hourly wage and not do any work and think that like it's just going to work out in the end.
I agree.
So I think what's much more likely to happen is that these jobs will be automated out. But I think, like, driverless cars are certainly coming, but I mean, it's going to take a while for all that infrastructure to be put in place. Like people think driverless cars is like Tesla, and I mean, to an extent it is, but so imagine like having like, but consider how expensive the average Tesla is, and then try to multiply that by there's like 300 million people in this country. I don't know how many cars there are, but let's just say even 100 million. Like it's going to take a long time to manufacture all those cars and for the price to come down where it's worth it. So I'd say it's going to be at least 10 years maybe.
10 years?
Yeah,
sooner. But I also don't think like if you have an automated car, it doesn't really need to be nearly as big and as complex as a Tesla. It can be very simple.
Yeah.
Be like a $7,000 little box that just has a GPS that wanders around, you know?
Yeah, but it's just a matter of, I mean, if you a good watch any Joe Rogan podcast with Elon Musk, and he kind of talks about the technology behind it, and because like if you're talking about converting human driven cars to auto cars or robot driven cars or whatever, like across the board, like it's just a lot of infrastructure that's got to be put in place. I mean, it's like that's going to be like going back like 150 years ago, like when they were like electricity was like becoming the norm. Like they had to put up like all those, telephone poles and wire and everything.
It's true.
So, I mean, like for us, like that's going to be, I mean, it's certainly something that's going to happen in our lifetime. But I don't think it's going to happen quite so soon. Not because like I'm scared that my job's going to be automated out, but um, I don't think the infrastructure is in place, and especially with a lot of other turmoil going on in the world right now. Um, a lot of these companies and like political groups like do not want things to be automated out. They want the manual labor because it's human jobs.
Yeah. Jennifer says she makes more money with DoorDash than her 9 to 5 job. This is true. I would say you probably make at least the same as a 9 to 5 job, and you get to choose where you're going to pay your taxes. I love
Yeah,
every DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub gives me time or the flex to pursue my goals. And that's why I do gig driving as well, because I always wanted to have like a lucrative way of making money and also still have time to put into my like businesses and stuff that I'm doing on the side.
yeah. I would agree. It's fun. I worked in IT, and I mean the jobs I was doing like wasn't like super high engineer type jobs. It was more like technician jobs, and I would say I make like as much, if not more. Actually, yeah, more. Especially the last couple of years, I make more doing gig work than I ever did in IT, especially because they're not taking taxes out of our paychecks. And if you know how to do your taxes right, like you pay like next to nothing in income taxes because you can write off
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. I just did my taxes the other day and I didn't have to pay anything this year.
Yeah.
I haven't had to pay anything for like the last 3 years because I'm really
You do
good
them
at it.
yourself?
No, I have a CPA who runs
Okay. Yeah, I do too.
finances for our footwear company and everything. So we use him like year round. Um, but I would suggest to everyone to get a CPA to do your taxes because it just makes it so much better, more professional. You don't realize how good like they are at taxes compared to you doing your own turbo taxes or something. Everyone always
Yeah.
does the turbo tax. I'm like, just pay a professional. They'll do it. They'll make it look better, and they can give you advice, and then you'll learn how your taxes work probably a lot better.
Yeah. I mean, a
Or
lot of people get like a free version of TurboTax or some kind of discounted version. And like it's kind of like idiot proof, or it just kind of asks you questions, yes or no questions, and then so it's kind of like fill in the blank. But yeah, I agree. If you can find a CPA or just any professional, like my tax guy is like my dad's best friend, and he used to work for like he was a career at the IRS. I think he worked for the IRS for like 20 or 30 years, and he retired, and then he went into tax preparation. So he knows all the tax laws and loopholes inside and out. So he's been doing my taxes for like, wow, like 10 or 15 years now. So, although speaking of taxes, like I think like my number one pet peeve, maybe not my number one, but definitely top five, when people in the comment section ask me questions about taxes and like tax advice, I'm like, why in the world would you ask a stranger on the internet for tax advice?
Some people get really mad at me for giving tax advice.
Yeah. My tax advice is what you just said. Find a CPA. Find somebody who's like licensed, professional, knows the laws.
Yeah, that's what I always tell people.
I mean,
Chris asks, is a CPA expensive? I pay my tax or my CPA $400, even though he only requests $300. So it's not that expensive to have a professional CPA do your taxes.
And that's probably like 1 day a year, right?
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So I mean, I did H&R Block once, and I think it was it was like 200-300 bucks. So I mean, yeah, you can go to H&R Block or any of those companies too. I mean, they'll probably do as good a job, but if you can find somebody who you actually know, like somebody who's a friend of a friend, that's like kind of like how lawyers are. Is like you don't go to the person in the yellow pages. Like you would probably go to somebody who your friend or family member can recommend. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, H&R Block was significantly more expensive for me because H&R Block actually charges you like, I think it's like $75 per 1099. So as someone who only has 1099s, I would be paying over $900 to have someone do my taxes. And then I started going to this guy that worked out at the same MMA gym and he did everyone else's taxes. I was like, oh, can you do my taxes? And now the guy that basically runs our, like he's our CPA basically year round now. So
Nice.
it's good to, and I like help promote his business and stuff. So Valor CPAs, if you guys want to check them out, VALORCPAS.com. That's who I have do my taxes, and they're really good with gig work and they work with professional athletes and all that kind of stuff. So they're not just random people.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, not H&R Block. Nope. Anyways, all right. So let's move on to YouTube gig stuff. So who's your favorite gig person to watch other than me?
I mean, there's a bunch of people. UDM, Bentley Coop, Nugs, Eli Esch. I'm finding new people all the time, especially on Instagram. Finding all these channels that only have like a handful of subscribers or people who comment on my videos, and I check out their channel, and they're like doing similar videos like what we're doing, like ride along videos or just talking to the camera about gig work. Yeah, so yeah, UDM, Bentley Coupe, Your Driver Mike, Eli, Nugs. Oh, Doordash Dad, obviously. See, the problem was when you start listing stuff, is like whoever you don't list like feels let out.
Yeah.
Gig Life. I think he's in Austin. He's either in Austin or Houston. I can't remember. I think it's Austin. So yeah. And it's interesting seeing people from all over the country, and like how the market is for different apps in different parts of the country. Like certain cities have apps that like I've never even heard of, and like we can't get here. Like
Yeah.
or Uber has their own Instacart now. It's called Corner Shop, and that Gig Life dude, he's been doing that a lot. And I actually signed up for Corner Shop, but it's not available here yet. I think it's available in Tampa, but it's not in Orlando. So it's like they need if they would. And same thing with Shipt. Well, I think I'm on a waiting list for Shipt. I mean, Shipt is essentially the same thing as Instacart, but they're like have like a fraction of the market share that Instacart has.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been trying to get in with Shipt for like 2 years, and they make you take a video interview where it asks you like a question, and you have to just talk to the kid. Like it's not a person you're talking to. Like it says you get like 60 seconds to respond to it. I think it's like, what's your greatest achievement in life? What's your strengths and weaknesses? What do you bring? It's very kind of generic job interview questions. You have to figure it out in 60 seconds.
I think that's a good thing. I think it's too easy to get hired as like a gig work person.
I agree. Yeah, because especially with Instacart, is to basically hire anybody with a pulse.
Yep. Yeah, same thing with Postmates. Let's see. On to the next one. All right, you want to talk about some fitness stuff?
Sure.
All right.
These guns.
So Chad mentioned that he had been working out. Let me plug the mic. Actually, I don't need to plug that. Chad mentioned he had been working out, and I said I would help him with some fitness stuff. I've been a personal trainer for like 12 years. And so, Chad, what is your daily workout regimen?
Um, it kind of changes, especially depending on the season. Like right now, it's like so hot, like you can't really do cardio. It's like I'm like just lifting weights. I'm doing this program called Body Beast. That's part of the beachbody.com series. The guy who the host or whatever, that Israeli guy, Sagi Khalif, I think his name is.
Yeah.
It's funny watching him because he reminds me of like a young Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like English is a second language, and he's like he gets tongue tied a lot. And
Yeah.
there's a few times where he actually like he seems like get like roid rage and like kind of yells at the cast. Like if like he's talking and like they try to talk, he's like the beast is talking. But yeah, so right now I'm doing Body Beast, and it's pretty easy because like there's no cardio. It's just all like weightlifting, and like it's one body part per day. So it's like Monday's chest, Tuesday's legs, Thursday or Wednesday is back, Thursday is arms, Friday is shoulders, and then Saturday is total body, and then I do abs Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then Sunday is a rest day. Although I never really have a rest day because Sunday is my busiest day with Instacart. So even though I'm not, working out, like I'm still getting plenty of exercise doing Instacart and gig work.
So would you say that your main goal is to lose weight?
It not really anymore. I should show you this picture of me from 2012, where I was like probably close to 220. So I'm like 5'10 and a half, 5'11. And like I was always I just had that body type where like I could never get like super big and muscular, but I could never get like, string bean skinny either, like unless I was like on a deserted island or something,
Yeah.
So it's funny because I got out of active duty when I was in the Navy in like Halloween 2007. And then actually it's funny, like unless you're a Marine, like trying to work out while you're active, it's kind of hard because like, we have like mandatory PT, like probably 3 days a week, but it's like, you're hardly burning any calories and it's just one size fits all. Like in boot camp, you definitely burn a lot of calories because it's just all cardio. And it's, people who, for the most part, like weren't in shape before they get to boot camp. Like there's no weightlifting or anything. It's just all jumping jacks and running laps,
Yeah.
And also like, especially when you're active and like, like I was on the ship and it's like the food, it's like, it's really high in preservatives and like there's no, and so sometimes there's actually pretty good food, but like there's no like portion control. Like you can basically have as much as you want, I mean, you might have to go wait in line again, but you can.
Portion control is huge.
Huh? Oh yeah.
So like when you're eating more than your body can process, it's all turning into fat no matter what.
Yeah.
Would you say that you focus on consuming more protein than other macronutrients?
Probably not. Let me finish my story here. So, yeah, when I got out of active duty in 2007, and then like I kind of had to work out on my own. Like I did it, like once in a while, and then I don't know what happened or why, but I just kind of like gave up, and then I started gaining a lot of weight, and yeah, I think at one point like I was probably 215, 220, and I remember I think it was like Christmas of 2011, somewhere around that time. I went on a date with a girl and she saw me and I just saw her face drop and I was like, oh shit, like I'm way too fat. So like how everybody has a New Year's resolution to lose weight. So like New Year's of 2012, I did. And I actually, so we're coming up on almost 10 years that I've kept that resolution. So like I always start getting up at like 5 a.m. and going to Planet Fitness and like they have like the stations, we just like the machines are good for people if you're out of shape and you don't know how to lift weights. Like they're safe, and you just kind of like do a station. And then I would like get on the elliptical for like a half hour or an hour. And yeah, I just kept at it. Like the weight kept coming off. And I was using, at the time I was using MyFitnessPal, which is like a calorie counter. I mean, it's still around. and I didn't realize like how much I was taking in until I started using that, and I was like, okay, now I gotta really cut down on my calories. So, um, and then so I went from 220 to like, actually at one point I think I was like 172 or something. I think it was probably like a year later, and yeah, it's like 2012, 2013, 2014. I was like running like 15, 20 miles a week. I ran like a couple marathons, like not like actual races, like just like I would plot out 26 miles around Albany and like run it on my own, in like 4.5, like 4.5, 5 hours. And and I did P90X back then. And I can still do P90. I like P90X because like it's a good combo of like kind of like that boot camp type, doing like a lot of body weight exercise, but you also lift a lot of weight in it too. And at my apartment in Albany, I used to have a chin up bar, and actually I had one at my last apartment in Lakeland, but this apartment here, there's no way to put a chin up bar on any of the doors. So I just have to use the bands, and it's really not as good a workout. But I remember like doing pull-ups, and I would put like my foot on the chair, and then eventually one day I was like, all right, I'm not going to use a chair anymore, and I started like doing it. I was like, oh my god, like that's a good sign if you can actually do a full pull-up, and a few of them too. So
Yeah.
yeah, and I always just kind of liked, so yeah, for like the last 10 years I kind of enjoy running, especially outside. And like here in Florida, it's so hot. Like I'll go to a Planet Fitness, like, well, not right now, but pre-COVID, I would go to Planet Fitness like probably 3 days a week and just run for like an hour. And depending on my weight at the time, like I could go. There was times where I did an hour at like 8 miles per hour, which is like super fast. And like lately, it's dropped down like to like like 6.5, 7 miles per hour. Which is still pretty fast. Anything over 7 to me is like pretty fast. Or I'll
Yeah.
do you do like speed intervals where you run for like 2 minutes and then you jog for a minute and then you run for two.
Actually, no, never. Basically, my fitness plan is always like wake up first thing in the morning. I do a full body workout,
Mm-hmm.
do like back, biceps, triceps, push, pull, like everything, all muscle groups first thing in the morning. Because the first thing you want to do is like get your whole entire body full of blood and get the whole entire system going. So that way, do that like first thing in the morning before you've eaten anything. So it's like a fasted workout, and your body is burning off fat that you've consumed previously, rather than burning off the calories that you've already put into your system. And then another thing that's like really important is focusing on the protein consumption, because protein and fats are the only thing that really do anything for your body. If you're consuming carbohydrates, the only thing that they do for your body is give you more energy right before you work out, So unless you're about to work out, not really any point to eating any carbs. I would say just those two are like huge for people who want to like look into losing weight.
Yeah, that's what I usually do. I mean, it kind of depends on the day. Is when I was doing like when I would get up at like 6 and like start working out pretty much immediately, like 6:30 to 7:30, and then like take a shower, eat breakfast, and I'm ready to go by like 8:30 to work. But like now, like like today, like a day off, like I'll sleep into like 8 and then like have coffee, and like if I'm hungry I'll have something to eat. Sometimes just coffee will get me through till lunch, and then like I'll like sit around the computer watching YouTube videos till like 9, and then I'll start working out.
Watch other gig drivers YouTube stuff mostly, or do you watch like what's the most content that you consume?
I mean, there's so many gig tubers. Like I can't watch everybody's video from every channel, but I try to watch as much as I can. And I mean, like I watch like a lot of like science videos, like Veritasium and Vsauce and SciShow, and like some comedy videos and some political stuff. And yeah, but I mean, it's mostly I try to just concentrate on like the gig tubers, just see what everybody else is up to. And trying to see like what are they doing to get such a cultivate their audience,
Yeah, every once in a while I'll check out like the main channels that I watch every once in a while and see what they posted recently and see if there's any topics that I've missed, or like I want to start doing reaction videos to them. So I don't know if anyone's listening and has any good videos that I should react to. Let me know in the comments down below. I was thinking about pulling up like I know that uh, DoorDash Diaries guy has a video that's got tons of views on it, like millions. I was thinking
yeah.
about doing something like that, or like give my tips and advice on those kind of things. 'Cause everyone has their own like spin of how people should treat gig working.
Yeah. You got to be careful though, because even though you think you're doing a critique in good faith, a lot of people will see it as either trolling or just being an asshole, So like, or like, you're just trying to capitalize on the algorithm, like, because if you're using like the same tags and SEO and stuff, like especially if it's word for word. um yeah, because I had actually thought about doing something like that too. I was gonna like critique like clickbaity videos about the gig economy, like like if you do a search for like DoorDash, one of the first videos that pops up is this girl where she's like holding like a bunch of money and like like I made like $40 an hour doing DoorDash, and it's from like 5 years ago.
Yeah,
It's got like millions of views. Like and that's what sucks about the way the YouTube algorithm works. Is like it rewards these. It's not even like his stuff like is obsolete. Like the app no longer works that way, or things change. Like maybe like the basics are still the same, but like even especially on Instacart, like there's this one dude, I forget his name, but it's like a montage of like tips, and for the most part, like they're still valid, but like he keeps showing the app, and like the app has gone huge facelift since then.
yeah,
So anybody, like if you were just now signing up for Instacart and like that was the first video you watched, and then you actually got the app and you're like, this doesn't look anything like that video. I find that's what I worry about, is like, and I will call out people who make very obviously clickbait videos, like depending on the title or the thumbnail. Like basically any thumbnail where someone's holding cash, like that's clickbait, you know.
oh yeah.
Or if
That's the name of the game, though. That's how you get people
yeah,
to your videos.
if they're saying you're gonna make more than $30 an hour, or if just any kind of get rich quick scheme, like there's this one another person, like there's all these videos where there are people who they're not really gig tubers like us, where like they're putting out content like all the time. They put out like maybe 3 videos a year or something like that. And I saw this one dude, he was doing an Instacart video, and it opens kind of like how yours does, like with a montage, and it's like him in what looks like a Manhattan penthouse, and then like he gets into like a Ferrari or something, and like one of his videos is like, I made over 6 figures just doing Instacart, and I'm like, no Instacart shopper drives a Ferrari. Get the fuck out of here.
That's my goals, to be the first.
Anybody can rent a Ferrari and hire a camera crew to make it looks like something out of like a Netflix series or something,
Yeah.
Like I can make that 30-second montage. Yeah. I mean, it would cost like $5,000 to do it, and then it's like, but this person also doesn't really make videos that often. They post like maybe once a month. So it's like, what's going on here? It's like, why are you like these people who are like grifters, but not good grifters?
Right,
You ever seen that kid, the rideshare hub?
Oh, the rideshare hub. I've heard that one. I saw it once.
Yeah. I mean, he has a bunch of channels called the something hub. And yeah, like that kid was like a total grifter. Geo, who is American Gigolo, he calls him McLovin. He doesn't really look anything like McLovin, but it's just a funny nickname. And yeah, that kid is clearly, I don't even know if he's still around, but he's clearly a grifter. Like all his videos, every single video every thumbnail, every title of the video, all the tags was just all. I mean, it's a master class in SEO. I will give him that. Is like, if you want to learn how to do SEO, like, but you want to do it like really unethically, just follow the rideshare hub or whatever his other channels are. Um, yeah, and you can capitalize on SEO just by having those clickbaity thumbnails, those really catchy clickbaity titles, and putting tags that have absolutely nothing to do with your video, but will attract the search engines.
Yeah, I don't think that's good long term though.
I don't know. I think that kid made out pretty well.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh?
I mean, you get like 50,000 subs in like a year. And like, I think I could bring it up right now, but I bet his whole channel probably has like 10 million views or something.
That's crazy. I feel like my channel has been growing so slowly. I'm like, what's going on? What do I need to do? Like more clickbait. I feel like the gig drivers don't really collab with each other very often. Like I'm pretty sure you're the first person I've collabed with. And I've reached out to UDM and Bentley Coupe, and Doordash Dad, and none of them wanted to do any collabs. Well, maybe UDM responded, but I could not get him to like do any kind of collab. So
Yeah. A lot of those guys are busy. They have families and, we know how long it takes to make videos. So I'm on the Rideshare Hub's YouTube page right now. He has 57.3 thousand subscribers, 8.2 million views total.
whew,
But he hasn't made a video. Let me see. Yeah, he hasn't made a video in 6 months. So
he's making that ad.
I'm glad he's gone. But I heard he was like scheming Trump supporters. Like he has another channel called the Financial Hub or the Liberty Hub, something, something political. Like he was making these YouTube channels and videos about, Trump, and it was like conning all these Trump supporters out of money, like pretending to be a PAC, like a political action committee, even though I don't know. Watch Geo's channel. He talked about it on there, but so anyway, yeah, man, we really got off on a tangent. Any commenters in the chat?
I think we lost him when we started talking about fitness. Should have saw that one coming.
What's your you do total body like every day, or you don't have dedicated days to like, chest and triceps or back and biceps?
Yeah, so the first thing I do in the morning, I also do a full body workout, so my whole body's warmed up and I feel good for the day. And then I will go back and do like just chest later, like after I've eaten a lot of calories, because when you're actually lifting heavy is when you want those calories to actually like fill your muscles, because what you're actually doing when you work out is like you're tearing your muscles apart.
Yeah.
You need something to fill that space that you just tore apart. So it's, in my opinion, it's better to do like those heavy kind of lifts and focused workouts later in the day. But if you're just trying to lose weight, you just want to stay focused on full body workouts, basically.
Yeah. I'm not really trying to lose. Like, I'm happy with my weight. I mean, I would prefer, like, I think I measured myself yesterday. I was like 182 or something. I prefer to say, well, I mean, it's harder as I get older, but I mean, I prefer to say under 180. So it's hard for me to, because like, I like to lift weights, but like I said, like my body won't really put on like a lot of muscle. Like I've tried like, taking those protein shakes and creatine and all, like anything short of like HGH or steroids or something like that. And it doesn't really do anything for me. It just makes me constipated and gassy. So, I mean, I do enjoy, lifting weights and like doing like the boot camp style exercise, especially at home when nobody's yelling at you. But, yeah, it cracks me up. Like, I don't know, like you said, you do like push-ups, right?
Yeah.
And like when I was in boot camp, I'm sure there was I mean, I was in my early 20s when I was in boot camp, and I'm in my mid 40s now. I'm sure there was some point that I did like at least 50 consecutive push-ups, maybe even 75 or more. And like now, like when I'm doing push-up, doesn't matter if it's, regular or wide, whatever. like once I get over like 15 or so, like then it starts to be like, oh man, like that's like I'm hurting, you know. Like
Yeah.
I don't know how many push-ups can you do before you're like, I can't do anymore.
Me personally,
Yeah.
a lot, like 200 probably.
200? Wow.
Yeah, if I took like a little break, I could do 200 in like 10 minutes or so.
Mhm.
But I mean, I'm also super conditioned. The shows that we do are pretty strenuous on your body, so I'm in like pretty tip-top shape.
Yeah.
You kind of have to be though, you know, otherwise your body's relying on us to. If you screw up once, and especially because you're tired or something, it could be you're dead.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, well, if you're a professional athlete, you know. I do like you ever tried P90X2?
I've never tried any of those video workout systems.
Yeah. I mean, they're fun. When the P90X or well, I mean, you don't have to you ever done a 4-ball push-up?
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's in P90X2 and like that's tricky or doing a sidearm balance on a med ball. Anything where you're balancing is like because you're anything like you don't realize like how unstable you are. Like it's either like one of those big huge rubber balls or like even just like a few med balls. Um, like your body starts like doing this thing. You're like, oh shit, like that'll turn your core into concrete. You know?
Yeah, for sure. Hey, I actually got to go pretty soon. So,
Okay, that's cool.
um, anything else that we missed on that you could think of?
Uh, no, I mean it's just good to be here. So
Yeah,
maybe we
I would-
can if we hit get a following going, we could like start a weekly, like UDM and DoorDash dad have like a well they used to have a like a podcast basically where it's kind of like
it-
this where they talked gig work for like an hour every Monday night or something. Maybe we can do
uh,
something like that.
yeah, definitely look into it for sure. I didn't know they had that. Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
UDM moved and he still hasn't like set up his home studio yet, so I think he put the
Uh,
podcast on hold until that's ready. So he's just like all the videos he's been doing lately he's just on his phone in his car.
yeah. Definitely interested in that for sure. So everyone can find you at Chad the Gig Economist on everything, right?
Yeah, on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. I don't use Twitter or TikTok. And believe it or not, I don't have a website. Like, I don't really see the need for one. Like, YouTube is my website.
Yeah, me too.
Maybe I'll register a URL and then just have it redirect to YouTube. But yeah, like having a website, that's just that's one more thing I got to take care of.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe I'll do it someday, but who knows?
Cool. Well, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, this was fun.
Keep in touch.
Sorry we didn't do it on Saturday or Sunday or whatever day you promised your viewers we were going to do.
No, I got so sick though, so couldn't do it.
Oh, that sucks. You got over it quick.
No, I'm not over it. I'm not over it.
Yeah.
I'm still sick right now, actually.
Are you guys still wearing masks at your show?
No. We were
Okay.
we wear them for one act, the tramp wall act,
Hmm.
only because it looks good with our suits, but for the ramp act, we stopped wearing them.
Yeah, I'm surprised you were wearing them at all because like doing physical activity while you have a mask on is.
Oh, they were
That's-
like pretend masks. The holes were so big, like you couldn't even.
Oh, you
like,
could breathe, no problem.
nothing.
Oh yeah, that's ever since COVID. Like I hardly ever go to Planet Fitness anymore because, well, maybe they've changed it in the last week or two, but they would make you put a mask on from the door till you got to whatever machine you were using, and then once you're on the machine, you could take your mask off. But then I would see people on the treadmill running full speed with a mask on, or on the elliptical, or like even lifting weights. I'm like, what are you doing? You're inhaling your own CO2. That's like even the CDC and the WHO, they all say do not do a physical exertion while wearing a mask. You need to breathe.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Well, I agree. I don't think masks are necessary, but I'm sick right now, so I'm actually wearing my mask anytime I go out, just for other people's like safety. and stuff.
Oh, yeah. That's which is the whole point of them,
Yeah,
But
sure.
well, I hope
Anyways,
you feel better.
yeah, we'll see you later. Thanks, Chad.
All right. I'll see you.